Well, everyone, welcome back to our single player world. As we fly in here, you can see some changes that we've made to our nice little base here. So, what's been happening while I was on that business trip is that night I just slowly work on this and get a little bit here and there done, but unfortunately could not record it. So, let's land up over here real quick and not take too much damage. And then let's spin around and look at it. So, yeah, this is what we have, and it's looking quite great. That's the second story done up there. No interior, of course. That's still hollow and empty and and a crazy mob spawner. But as you can see here, we finished it mostly, and there's just a couple things that poke above this little line that we drew in the sand here. And we've got this nice little axe that stands above one of the roofs here. And then we just got some roof detailing over there. So as you can see, we've started with some of the roofs, really bringing it in some. So now it's a smaller footprint up top here. But that's perfect because right after this, we'll be going into just a little more of the normal build here, and then it'll all start coming in to the roofs. So I think what we'll go ahead and do this time is, now that we have a good amount of the surrounding area completed, we're going to build the wall around the place and focus our efforts down that way a little bit now. So I think we'll probably be working on some of these builds here, but I also think we'll be working on getting over here and establishing where we want to put our docks area, because that is going to go right over here, but exactly where, I don't know yet. I'm thinking these steeper cliffs are a good place, but we will certainly have to find out once we get everything. Well, we'll find out once we start the planning. So let's pop back to ourselves and head over there and start thinking. Well, everyone, it was a quick build, but we've gone ahead and finished a small little cliff here. It's just a natural way to kind of separate these two areas between this upper, where we're going to put more housing, and then this lower area where I'm still debating what will be put here, but I am very much leaning towards a small little park where people just overall in this area here can enjoy the water, enjoy the lake, to have a nice little area to stroll and walk around. But for now, we're going to continue focusing on this area and how it leads all the way down to our little bay that we have over here. So this is where we have our cliff ending, and let's just go back and look at our area as a whole and kind of plan out what this area is going to look like. I have some ambitious plans for it, and I'm hoping I can convert those ideas in my mind into reality, and I hope y'all enjoy them as well. Well, I just don't know how long that has been there and why I didn't realize it sooner. But let's go ahead and take our axe, chip that away, and use some honey on those. Those were meant to be all waxed, but I guess I missed some, so let me grab that real quick. All right, we're now all waxed up, so let's move down to the area where it's dark down here and light everything up so we can begin our build. I'll pull y'all back in once we're ready to start. Just again run through our beautiful little restaurant. Love this place. It turned out much better than I expected. But yeah, let's get out there and light everything up. All right, we are all lit up. So let's hop right into that time lapse. Here we go. Right, well, as the sun comes up there, we are done with this. So let's pull back and kind of look at what we've done. Phantoms are burning there because we didn't bring a bed while we were building this. But I'm thinking it's looking quite great. I tried a new little technique here to where we use darker block to kind of make a visual recession and stuff. So I tried using these polished diorite to make it look like this was jutting out, and then this was a little shadow underneath it, or a water drip from where it's come from. Hopefully that phantom leaves me alone. But so yeah, I think it's looking quite great there. We did the same technique we do on some of our roofs here to where we make it lighter in the areas where there'd be more water, and we made it darker on this one in this case where there'd be more water. So overall, I think it's looking quite great. We're just missing two things, and it's this door and that door. So I'm gonna run and grab those real quick after we pick up the shulker box, and then I'll be right back. And we have them, and 1, 2. And so that's the exterior of this place. I think you might be surprised where the entrances are, but we're going to have this path come here, and it's going to press right against the front there. So there's one entrance, and it's going to come past here over to this one, and we'll have a little side entrance right to this spot here. But I don't have any plans right now for how I'm going to decorate the interior here. But as you can see, we have potential for at least 3 stories in this one. And then if we bust through here, we have another little 1-story here. But based on where I put the windows, I forgot to put glass inside them. I'll fix that. But based on where I put the windows, we'll probably have this bump up a little to where right in this line here is where the floor will be. And then, no, we'll probably keep it the same and just have them be high windows. And we'll make this like a kitchen of some sort. That way we can wall off this area here and it doesn't cause too much distraction in that area for the eyes. But yeah, we finished the outside here, and I think we'll go with getting the path and everything completed here, and then we'll start gathering the resources for this build here. So yeah, let's hop right to that. So while I was editing, I realized I had forgotten to hit record at one point and explain what I was about to do. So what I'm about to do in this next clip is start building some trees right at one of the corner edges of our cliff. And it's kind of a rounded area here, and you'll see it in just a second and my explanation will make more sense. I can't show you it right now because there's spoilers that you'll see a little later in the video. But for that little edge, we built 2 trees that kind of form an archway of themselves and frame in an area. And originally I had planned to put a gazebo in the middle there. And, well, you'll see how it plays out. Let's just hop to that real quick, and sorry for forgetting to hit record. And I think these trees turned out great. We've got 2 big oak trees, one of them in the middle of its bloom right now. And overall, I think it turned out incredibly well. We have our little gazebo here in the middle, and the only thing I'm not certain about is if I want to keep this indent here. I may go ahead and remove that, but thanks to our mason villagers down in our mines, we were able to get our hands on plenty of quartz. And yeah, I think together, all of this looks good. The trees have gotten so big, they're starting to touch, forming a little arch right here. But I am also considering taking this out because with it out, it's going to frame these 2 buildings really well from here. So actually, what we'll do, that was much faster than I expected it to be. Don't know why I expected that to be slower, but that just tore right through them. But let's knock this out right here real quick. I'll just pull back here and look. This is kind of the frame those trees would provide. And then they'd also provide a nice frame over this bridge right here with the water flow down into our lake we created. So that's what I'm debating. And then if I do that, I'll probably put just some benches right here on the edge and probably on this tree. Let's see which one has better branches this way. Yeah, if I do that, I'll probably put a bench right over here looking and then make a swing coming off right here that you're swinging, this direction. So yeah, that's kind of what I think I'll actually do right now. I'll rip this up out of the ground and I'll refill it with dirt and just give us that nice frame now that I'm looking at it. We should have maybe looked at that before I completed it, but sometimes you gotta start something to realize you shouldn't have started it. So let's go ahead and tear this down and then let's try and admire that view as the sun rises. Actually, that'll be a good sunset spot. So yeah, let me try and finish this before the sun starts setting again, and we'll look at that and see how it looks right at dusk. All right, and as we pick up these last 2 things, shift that back up into our inventory here. We have finished it. Of course, some of this is still going to fill in, but with all the azalea trees we had to grow, to get this, I realized we had a good amount of rooted dirt. So I've just thrown that around here. And then after bone mailing them, I use some of those roots to just kind of plop under here every so often. And It might be too dense on that, or it might just be because it's the only thing hanging down at the moment. Like if we add some glow lichen or vines onto here, or even just textured up this wall, it might break it up and make that not seem as much. So I'm gonna try that first before I change anything on the roots there. But let's hop back here, jump to the back. Let's clear this out of our way so we can see clearly. And just like I wanted, as the sun's setting there, we get that nice red orange glow right across there, and it frames everything in really well. Especially right here, you still can look right through there and see the water falling below the bridge. And then you can come sit on either one of these. I just decided to use quartz stairs because that's what I had on me, and I think they work fairly well with the spruce here. Or we can just sit up here on our swing and watch the sunset, which is looking incredible right here. Let's see if I can grab that in shaders real quick. Oh wow, yeah, that looks great. Didn't quite make it in time to get the sunset, but I'm just gonna wait here a full day and wait for the sunset to come again to show y'all. All right, and just like that, we're back with the sun setting. Granted, it is kind of bright looking right into it, but that's what it's like looking into the sun. We got these long chains coming in, and the sun's just starting to hit behind those trees. And wow, yeah, that looks incredible with shaders on. We got our leaves just jiggling around up there, and the sun slowly setting behind our forge. Yeah, I think that was an incredible shot. But now we're going to come down here and work on this area. Give ourselves another little park area up here. This was just going to be along the walking trail. We're going to give ourselves a little park and put what I'm thinking is a pretty massive tree right in this spot. And I'm wanting it to like lean over the sheep pen area here. Give them an area, high, yes, high. Give them an area over here that's just completely in the shade that they can hang out in. So let's hop right to that as night officially sets in. All right, well, before I turn around here, I need to let y'all know that I got really into a podcast, and while I was in my creative world designing this tree, I got a little carried away. And so I'm about to turn around to an absolutely gargantuan tree that is going to supersede everything else we've built so far. And, well, enough delaying. Let's just hit this F5, and see exactly what I've done. So, yeah, it's a little bit big. Takes up a lot more space than I ever anticipated it to. But yeah, it's looking incredible. Let's get another view at it real quick. It will pull away, but it dwarfs everything. And I added some little flowers in there to make it seem like it's blooming, but it's honestly just this immensely massive tree. And it has no business being this big. But I did it. And I've added, oops, fell into the wrong area. But I've added lanterns to every flower to kind of give them each their own little glowing effect. So if we look here, you see this one's glowing individually, to kind of make it seem like that's where the source of light on this tree comes from, rather than the lanterns that are up its trunk here. But yeah, let's go stand next to it real quick and just go into FreeCam and, I mean, it's just so big. It took me probably 3 to 4 hours to build up in this world, and another hour and a half or so building in creative. And I don't know why. The podcast I was listening to was incredible, and I lost track of time while designing it. I kept just making tweaks, making new branches jut off, and that made me want to make the base thicker, and just it's a slippery slope, but we did it all into this massive tree, but at least our sheep have a little bit of shade now to get out of the sun during the day and to get out of the rain, to get out of everything other than just this small little shelter here. So I actually think it turned out great, and I think it fits well into this area, even though its sheer size is probably bigger than I expected or you expected even to be here. But let me get to a safe spot because it is nighttime real quick. And then I'll kind of show you how it's now like the centerpiece to this whole base. Ooh, we climbed on top of that. This whole base area here. Hmm, let's just call. Why don't I just fly? Fly up top to one of these trees. I don't know why I keep trying to jump everywhere. But yeah, this can kind of be like the tree that was here when the guild was founded, and it's just been growing and growing ever since as the guild grows. And wow, this area is nice and lit up here at night. But yeah, so that's kind of the lore I'm thinking behind this place here. We've had this long standing guild that's been here for several generations, and this tree has been growing with it. This tree's over a century or so odd years old, and it's in full bloom right now, as well as the guild being in full bloom. And I think it just goes really well with it, and it goes perfect for this little park idea we go here. That this will be the focal point of the park, but its influence spreads just nature out into this whole area right down here between where my little dot crosshair is pointing. So yeah, this took me longer than expected, but I still think I'll have time before this episode comes out to build up this entire park area down here with just a couple more custom trees, some paths, some benches. So without further ado, let's kill these mobs and hop right into that. All right, well, from here it is looking quite great down there. We've put in some more custom trees all along here. We have paths going through it, and all we're missing right now is one thing. But I wanted to take y'all through everything first before I went and added this, so y'all could just get a feel of what I'm thinking along here. So let's run over here real quick before we look or get a feel for anything, and go as if we are. That'd be a good spot to have a little stream come through. We'll have to think on that. But around here is where you'd come into the park. And so you've got just some nice trees around here. You got the cliffside to your right, the water to the left. You're enjoying a quick little walk through here. And now, once we get here, we can turn and cross to the other side of the river. You come down to the near the reservoir, and you come, and I'm thinking of putting a bridge right here, but I want to make it a low bridge. That way you can like look into the waterfall here. But to do that first, I want to go ahead and texture the back of this waterfall as well as this river as a whole. So that's why I waited on the bridge, because I wanted to get a view of how it would look, quote unquote, naturally before I put a man-made structure over it. So let's jump right to that and just go ahead and texture up this entire river. I'll bring y'all back as soon as it's done. And with a quick pass over, we have our little stream filled out. Got sea pickles, cobblestone, mossy cobblestone, moss, and seagrass all up in here. And it's looking quite great as we run down this whole thing. Now the only thing left to do is, if we follow the path, we just got to put in this little bridge right here. So, without anything else to do, let's spin around and see it get done. And just like that, we finished it up, and I think it's looking quite great. I realized while sitting here, there was a couple things I was missing in this park I needed, and that is sugarcane, bamboo with string on top, of course, some beehives, some of the tall flowers, lily pads, drip leaves, vines, and of course the spider webs here. And that's, well, there's spiders in parks. So I felt like that was needed, and I added them just in scattering around the park. As we look around, you'll see them every so often. We got some clumps of bamboo over here, a bigger clump by the tree down here, and then we got a really big beehive up there. So now all I gotta do is just breed up a couple of bees so it gives life to this area. And then I might add a spore blossom or two if I can go and find some in some lush caves. Because as far as I know at the moment, there is not a way to make them. But that is okay because I think this little area is turning out great. Let's stop right here on the bridge, zoom out, and wow, wow, it's really changed so much since we had it the other day. And as the sun rises right over here on our beautiful new day in this world, I know I promised that we would work on that other little build, but I think we've just run out of time. So I want to thank everyone so much for joining. I hope y'all have enjoyed it, and I hope to see y'all back next week. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.